State your name and voting district, please.
Evelyn Lesh, Reedy Church District, and I live in Caroline Pines too, and I'm also a real estate agent. And I've sold some homes in Caroline Pines, and I have to disclose this about the water situation. And it is very embarrassing to do that. When I have a buyer standing there, I have to tell them, well, this water, it'll come out like mud, and it does at my house too. And I have to buy cases of water and gallons of water to drink because we don't drink the water. I have a glass by my dryer when I wash my clothes because all my white clothes and my towels are just ruined. And I have twins that are 10 years old that want to take a bath, and they refuse to take a bath in the water. I have one of my other twins in the morning complains every morning about brushing her teeth in that nasty water. And it's just getting way out of hand. And I know it's going to cost money to do this, but myself, my family is willing to pay for that, you know, and I don't care actually what it costs because I'm paying a water bill, and then I'm also having to buy bottled water and cases of water every week. And it's just getting terrible. I took a shower this morning, the water was absolutely brown. It is awful. So it's just getting terrible, and we need some help. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lesh. So state your name and voting district.
Emily Skinner, Reedy Church District. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm here to speak with you all about the continued need for funding for Caroline's Promise and not cutting the budget for that program. I want to speak with you all specifically about the Divas with Promise group. As you all are aware, this is a mentoring program for young women, middle school to 12th grade. I've had the privilege of serving on that leadership board. I'm sure we all agree that the children of this county are our most valuable resource. We have built into these young women's lives. We have encouraged them. We've had guest speakers come and speak with them about continuing their education, healthy choices, healthy lifestyle. We've made several trips to the Bowling Green Healthcare Center where they have volunteered their time and their efforts. I appreciate your time this evening listening to me, and I'd like to encourage you all to remember that it truly does take a village to raise a child. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Skinner. Please state your name and voting district.
My name is Jeannie Kellis, and I'm in Madison District. I'm a parent of a teenage girl in the Diva with Promise program, and I just wanted to let you guys know, back last year, you know, there's been some things been going on with her. Last year we had a rocky time with her. Since she joined Divas with Promise, she's turned her grades around. She's making AB honor roll this year. She's come from being very clingy, really not so sure about, you know, which path she wanted to go, and this year she's doing wonderful. AB honor roll, she's more, you know, she's wants to be out there. She wants to be with the group of girls, wants to express, you know, how she feels about everything in general. And I just wanted to let you guys know that it is a wonderful program for the teenage girls these days. I would much rather see her in a program like this instead of, you know, doing other stuff that teenage girls are doing these days. You know, and really that's all I have to say. I just wanted you guys to realize it is a wonderful program. Thank you.
All right, thank you for coming. State your name and voting district, please, sir.
Good evening. My name is Frank Nisley. I'm also a resident of Caroline Pines in the Reedy Church District. I have some pictures of the water that the other residents of Caroline Pines have talked about. I have them on my camera. I would like for y'all to see the water that's coming out of my faucet at home.
Okay. You can give that to our Assistant County Administrator. He'll pass that around for us. All right. And if you'd like, you have any more comments, sir?
No, sir. Just that the water is very, very nasty. And I concur with the other residents that To me, it's a health hazard. I've contacted John East of the Drinking Water Commission of the Health Department, and he's said that he would get back to me on the issue. But you can see that it's like iced tea coming out of the faucets over there.
Okay. All right. I'm having technical difficulties, so I may need you to get that on there for us. But if you leave it with us, we'll look at it and get it back to you real quickly.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Please state your name and voting district, please, ma'am.
I'm Bethany Eigel, and I'm with the 4-H Extension Office, and I'm in Mattapani District, and I'm speaking on behalf of Caroline's Promise this evening. Apart from all the other wonderful things that they do, they have contributed a great deal of scholarship money for a number of campers in the past 5 years that I've been here. I know they've directly touched at least 10 to 15 youth in enabling them to go to camp. And these are youth that would otherwise not have that opportunity. It might be the first time they've ever gotten to go to an overnight camp out of the county. And also they've helped to send some youth down to State Congress at Virginia Tech. Again, for some of them, it's the first time they've ever gotten to visit a college campus, and it's made a tremendous impact in those youth's lives. And I've also collaborated with Caroline's Promise on a number of different events that we could not have done without their support. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Any other citizens, please come forward at this time.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board, staff, and all present. I stand tonight, it's my privilege to come forward as president of the Caroline's Promise Board of Directors. There's others who are going to speak on our behalf as well. But I take this opportunity to appeal to you to fully restore the funding to the level that you funded us last year. To cut our funding to 50% of last year's contribution jeopardizes Caroline's Promise, because we would not be able to continue with the one staff person who is crucial to our success, and that's our executive director. Without an executive director, we have no way to continue to serve the 2,237 young people that we were able to provide services for last year. There's no way to coordinate the 325 volunteer opportunities that our executive director coordinated for us this year. Those opportunities and those young people served have been served through the baby basket program from infancy through the after prom party for high school graduation. The services are critically important at this time because we're facing very tough economic times. And when times get hard for families, they get critically hard for children. We want to keep the promises that all children are going to have responsible mentorship, safe places to play, a nurturing community to embrace them, nutritional needs met. And your $25,000 of support translated into all of the programmatic activities that we were able to provide at the tune of $11.19 per child. That makes us about the best bargain this county could have. To cut the program to 50%, we would not be able to continue with those activities. We cannot fund our now very well-trained executive director, who we've been able to get, and you provided that money, but you also provided the stipulation that that money be used and utilized efficiently and effectively for the salary of the executive director. Please, we implore you, do not jeopardize this crucial program as we approach our 10-year mark of existence. It was great when Alma Powell came and introduced it. It was great when county funded it fully and supported it at its inception. And we want to continue the greatness that we've enjoyed with this program and what it has done for the youngest and most vulnerable citizens of the county. You'll now hear from Jawanda Rollins, a fellow board member, and Bill Thornton, also a fellow board member. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bill Thornton. I'm from the Bowling Green District. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, staff, Mr. Akers, I've paid all my taxes and I have current stickers.
Current stickers.
I'm a new board member to Caroline's Promise from the Bowling Green District. I saw an ad in the paper and was curious about the organization. I've been involved with at-risk adult training since 1997, developing some very effective programs in Illinois. Caroline's Promise was more than I expected. It's an outreach of staff, board members, concerned adults, and community-minded youth. Now, she's mentioned numbers already. We've given you a handout which shows we have 1 executive staff member, 12 board members and officers, approximately 350 volunteers, and we serve 2,250 children. Now, per child, she's already said that's $11.19. That is a tremendous bargain. You see in front of you 5 promises, 3 to 5 programs per promise, for a total of 22. That is a lot of programs, and that is a lot of volunteers to coordinate, which I believe our executive director does extremely well. 2 of the programs there are awards in this building currently that we were able to impact. The All-America City Award, the dental program that we started and currently support, was a major part of winning that award. And on the back, there's an award for mentorship from mentoring organization that we got for the Divas with Promise program. So we're making a major contribution to the county for a very, very minimal cost of $25,000. We've already mentioned several of the programs. The Divas with Promise is probably one of our programs that is affecting a lot of people. Without funding, we won't be able to have such activities as Parade of Women, tours of local universities for seniors, trips to plays, shows, and competitions, and supplies for the group. Currently, we have 50 volunteers for Divas alone. 9 are on the leadership panel. The family fair, which we just held in the middle school. Last year, we had 350 attendees. This year, 490. That's a 40% increase. Tremendous increase. The Welcome New Baby Basket program. Now, I've got an example here. We have 25 volunteers, which make, this is a hand-crocheted baby blanket. Those go in each of the baskets that we hand out to new mothers.
10 seconds.
What's that?
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
10, oh, sorry. All right. But anyway, we've already talked about the campership program, reading and nutrition days, and the mini grant program, which may have to be cut. We also are planning to have a mentorship program for boys as well, not just girls. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thornton.
Good evening, board members. My name is Jawanda Rollins, and I am from the Reedy Church District, where Maxie Rosella is my representative. Tonight I will be addressing you as an executive board member of Caroline's Promise, and I must begin by saying that as a PhD student about to graduate with a degree in curriculum and instruction, I'm all about alignment and analyzing the depth and the breadth of a situation when making a decision, especially financial ones. And it is with this thought process that I speak to you and ask you to, at minimum, fully restore the funding to Caroline's Promise. The other representatives of Caroline's Promise have given an overview of the program's key principles that intentionally cover from the eldest to the youngest and include opportunities for those who are fortunate and those who need support. I would like to look at and compare what we do to the vision, mission, and the core values that this Board of Supervisors adopted in June. The purpose in establishing a mission and vision statement is to create a tool of evaluative criteria, and core values detail how you expect business to be conducted. So we will use this as the measuring stick as I intend to validate our funding request. First of all, the structure of our board aligns with the governmental best practices as we have representatives from each voting district so that the community at large has a direct and equal voice at the table, as well as key representatives such as the school system, the local government, and social services. It's important to point this out to you because it is evidence of the equality and vested interest that we foster. In our planning process, all activities are listed under the corresponding key principle. This ensures that we are meeting all of the goals, not just on paper, but in application. We then intentionally look to make sure that we have provided a route to address the less fortunate in our endeavors. So we ask questions like, are we making sure that the information gets out to people who don't get out? How can we accommodate those with disabilities, those who can't afford to pay, those who don't have transportation? Have we tapped the resources that we do have? Have we kept spending at a minimum? And have we pulled in as many people from the community to assist with the efforts as possible? It is essential that you understand and are aware of how we conduct business with commitment, accountability, respect, a neighborly heart, and in the spirit of excellence, all aligning with your adopted core value system. The county mission and vision statement that you adopted in June said that we recognize a need for an enriched community while respecting our history and embracing our future so that all of our citizens may enjoy a protected quality of life and appreciation of our diversity through openness and citizen participation. With these guiding professional practices, it is no surprise that our programs have been successful, and not only for those who always have and always do, but for those who have never seen and have never tried. Tonight, you've been given examples of the Youth Ambassadors programs where we challenge students to give back through community service. Just tonight, the Parent Resource Center sponsored a Pizza Hut reading night where we had high school students present. Divas with Promise earning the Best Mentoring Program. Family Fair was also mentioned. It is necessary, and I do realize the severity of the budget decisions you have to make, but it is our collective responsibility to give our children roots and wings. In closing, I submit to you that Caroline's Promise is just that, a program that provides roots to our citizens. We support and fill in the gaps as we can in supporting other agencies. When the Learning 21st Century funds were no longer available, we picked up some of the slack with providing activities for children after school. When social services is bombarded, we relieve some of the tension with helping out with new mothers. When the job market is slow, we provide camperships for families to send their children to camp. And when the educational system suffers from being spread too thin, we support its programs with volunteers and mentorship activities. Thank you for your time this evening, and I must say in closing, it is an honor to be a part of Caroline's Promise because I benefited from it as a child, and now I serve on the leadership board, helping to make decisions to help someone who was just like me. Thank you, Board of Supervisors, for your vision then. It fortified me, and your continued support aligns your latest vision and mission statement with our key values. We, you, and Caroline's Promise recognize for a need for an enriched community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Rollins. Any other citizens who'd like to address the board? It was too good a spiel. I couldn't stop that. Sorry. Okay.
I'm Maynard Penny from Bowling Green District. Last fall, I approached y'all and asked how much Caroline County owed. Mr. Ashcraft sent me a letter, and I picked up some other information. Looks like the county owes over $100 million. That's not your letter, Mr. Ashcraft. We look to tonight another bond issue that can supposed to be $37 million or whatever, but that could easily, as you know, in government spending, accumulate quite a bit more. We're going to need 3 new schools. Schools are loaded. We've been trailers now, plus the schools are full. You're talking about the 3 new schools, another probably close to $150 million. So we could be very quickly from a little over $100 million to $300 million. And then when you do that, you've got all the other things that enter in along with that. So that's just part of it. That's not all of it. What bothers me is putting our county very deeply in debt. I don't see any plans for getting us out of it. And what I would ask you gentlemen, before you put us any more in debt, to when you put us into a program that's costing the citizens of Caroline County, that you also show us how that's going to be paid for. I don't see any way that the county, that you could even raise taxes enough to pay this debt. So I'm very concerned about this. We don't need to follow the federal government right now. They print money, we can't. They borrow from China, I don't think we can. We need to get our county back on schedule. A man asked me the other night in a meeting, how would you do this? I said, if you make $50,000 a year and all at once you're making 25, you have to adjust your lifestyle. You can't eat, drink, drive, dress, take vacation, do anything like you did on 50,000 but 25. We own that 25,000 deal now, and I would ask you respectfully to address this issue so that the citizens of Caroline County will feel more comfortable with what's going on. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Penny. Are there any other citizens who'd like to address the board on any matter? Are there any other citizens who'd like to address the board on any matter? Any citizens like to address the board on any matter? All right. Seeing none, the public comment session is closed. Absolutely. And I would just say that, we heard from the folks at Caroline Pines, and certainly the board is going to take your concerns seriously, and we are going to work with Mr. Borchak to see, how we're going to get there in the nearest future. Also, Caroline Promise will continue to look at our budget and try to do, what we can. I don't want to lead anybody down the road to say, yeah, we're going to do it, but, we have some things to look at because a lot of folks are still asking for money. So we understand, and we'll certainly give it a fair look. That's all we can say. And as far as the debt, the county does have about an $89 million debt. What county doesn't have a debt? Our debt is no more out of kilter than the counties to the north of us or to the east of us or even to the west of us or to the south of us. All counties have debt. And you can have certain individuals who would try to say, our debt, we are higher than the debt that we should have. Well, that's because we choose to do that sitting up here. We choose the tax rate, and for that amount of money, that's how much debt we can pay. And we try to be fair and balanced in our debt. And if anybody would like to see any of our numbers, any of our audit reports, you can see them at any time, and we can do that. And 89 million debt is now what we have currently for the county. Okay. And some of the borrowing we're doing tonight is refinancing our existing debt. So that's also part of just the way you restructure. And that's pretty much on it. So certainly, our books are open anytime. They're on the internet. You want to come to the county administrator's office and look at the books, you're welcome to do that whenever you would like. It's for any citizen of Caroline County. All right.
Mr. Chairman, could I request
Yes, sir. Mr.
5-minute supervisor time break?
5-minute supervisor break. Okay.
That means 10 minutes.
All right. We're going to take a real 5-minute break. That's all you get.
Okay. All right. I got to go.
We'll reconvene the Board of Supervisors meeting, and next we have item 5, VDOT's 6-year plan for secondary road services. Mr. Stunkel?
All right. Last month we had a work session to discuss the secondary 6-year plan for fiscal year 2011 through 2016. And the plan that you have before you is as discussed. I had also provided the board with a supplemental analysis of the Route 639 financing, showing how much money we need to be able to fully fund the project for spot improvements between 95 and Route 1 so we can go to construction, and providing one possible solution to come up with those funds involving the leftover money from the Lake Landor turn lane projects.
I hate to have to ask you this, but I couldn't hear that last part that you were saying about the Landor project.
Yeah, basically, the 639 project from Route 1 to 95, spot improvements, we have a $266,337 deficit from being able to fully fund that project so it could go to construction. We do have $243,000 in the county's revenue sharing from the Lakeland that were not used on the Lakeland or turn lane projects. By spending half of that and the corresponding match, we could fully fund the upcoming 639 project. And this would also allow the county to request a refund of $109,831 in their revenue sharing match, or to apply that to other projects if you so desire.
Okay, since the last time we met, did VDOT or our staff and board members have a suggestion on the process that we look at next as far as road projects that we want to look at?
Are you speaking, Mr. Chairman, about after we have done the improvements between Route 1 and 639? Are you talking about the $109,000 that he says is going to be left over?
That's correct. What are we going to do with that?
Yeah. And I guess my other question would be, we heard earlier from Mr. Fincham about the revenue sharing program that we had requested funds in the past for some engineering work and other things to improve between Route 1 and 95. And between that engineering work and the Route 1 work, there was about $1 million that we needed for matching funds, revenue sharing, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. What would we be doing with this $3 million or $4 million, close to $4 million that we are looking at using for that 639 project? And secondly, what would we be doing with this additional revenue sharing that we talked about earlier that we requested a couple of years ago but has not been funded?
You want me to start? Go ahead. Okay. The original revenue sharing project from, I think it was 3 years ago now, was to do the preliminary engineering for the entire, the ultimate road improvements between 95 and Route 1.
The $56 million
it would give us, it would give us preliminary engineering. We'd identify the right-of-way needs. I think what Mr. Stunkel, and we had discussed this a number of times, recognizing how construction costs exploded and the fact that we weren't going to be able to come up with $56 million. The idea of making spot improvements to improve the traffic flow in that section might be a way to get some improvements to make the traffic situation better, knowing that we weren't going to be able to make the ultimate improvements.
Okay, so really we will not need to really consider a great deal longer the other $500,000 just to say it was a $500,000 match for the engineering plans for preliminary engineering for that section of the road. We don't have to look at trying to come up with that money out of our profits at this point.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, okay.
We're just, the project that is in the 6-year plan is basically to address the short-term needs in that corridor.
Have we looked at, and in that process, would you be looking at the intersection at Ladysmith, whereas right now going west on 639, there's a turn lane to the left going to Route 1 South, but there's one lane that would go straight across and also for the turning to the north. Is there some possibility to look at putting a turn lane to the north, because traffic backs up at anywhere from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the afternoons. Going west on 639, traffic will back up from that intersection down past Rice Chapel Church. And it's a good distance for traffic to back up. You've probably gotten caught in it. I know when I was working, I got caught in it quite often. So is there a possibility of using some of this money to make that?
Yeah, it was basically looking at the turn lanes, extending the turn lanes coming back from the intersection of Route 1, as well as looking at additional left turn lanes going into the industrial park. And
going east, right. Is it any possibility, Mr. Chairman, if I can, is getting off that interchange there at Ladysmith, going south and getting off and turning right to go to Ladysmith, people they will get off of the intersection or the interchange there. They'll make the right turn. They go just a short distance, not much further from here, the end of that build, the end of this road, and then they're going to make a left onto Green Road, which will bring them out on Route 1, and they go to Pendleton and they go to Lake Caroline. That has become dangerous there. People get off, then they stop. Almost no sooner than they get off the interchange, they're going to stop to make a left-hand turn. Is there some way, and I don't know what the cost would be, it probably couldn't be done in that $3 million or $4 million number, but is there some way to sort of take that intersection on a little further to the north into property that probably don't own now, and make it sort of line up with Green Road?
Yep, and long term, that's certainly something that I know that's part of the county's long-term plans, but you're correct, that's not something that fits in that $3.3 million. What we had hoped to be able to do as part of that is basically do a paved shoulder that would allow an escape mechanism, if you were, for vehicles that want to continue west, so they're not trapped behind that left-turning traffic.
Okay.
Right.
So we're going to try to address that issue.
That's correct.
Okay. Good. That sounds good.
All right. Yes, sir, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Mr. Stunkel, before you leave, the revenue sharing refund, if we were to do the things that you've recommended here, that refund comes back to the county automatically or instantly?
You would need to request that refund, and as well as along with the transfer from the one project to the other. Nothing happens instantly with the state, but yeah, that would be.
I was going to ask that, and I know you have every confidence to answer because you're a short timer. So, realistically, am I going to get my money back anytime soon?
It could be 60 to 90 days.
Okay, that's not necessarily soon, but that's better.
Yeah.
Okay, and I guess Mr. Fincham or Mr.